Welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abbie Richie. I'm the tech guru at the Smarter Service, and you can find me right here every Tuesday talking with people who are engaged in the innovative age tech space. It is a fascinating, exciting, exhilarating place to be, and I'm just so thankful that people are innovative and they're coming up with new things to help older adults. Before we get started and before we bring our panel on, let's go ahead and run the intro. Today's topic is about accessibility innovation. And there has just been a boom of accessibility that's come across in the past couple of years. And with many people just needing a little bit of extra help and assistance, they are then able to use their technology to connect with family and friends. And one of the reasons this is so near and dear to my heart is that I work with so many older adults and so many of your residents. And I know that their lives will be dramatically improved by some of the solutions we're presenting today. I want to go ahead and invite my panel members on. And so first off, I have Jason Way. Jason, welcome to Tech Tuesday. You're on mute, but I'll get right back to you. And then I also have Emil Mamari. Welcome to Tech Tuesday, Emil.
Thank you, Abbie. It's great to be here.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I have Rebecca Rosenberg of Roboca. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And then we have Sam Tackeff. And Sam, welcome to Tech Tuesday.
Hi, all.
Hey, hi. So you guys, I'm so excited that you're here. I'm going to go through each of you one at a time, and I want to hear from you. First, Jason, let's start with you. Please tell us about your solution and why you created it.
Sure. Thank you for having me here. So my company is Discover Live. So in a nutshell, we use Zoom or any other live streaming video technology to take people on real-time on-location travel experiences. Why I created this, just because I am myself a pretty I travel a lot of different places, and my family have traveled to a lot of different places. I just feel like with the travel, it brings in a different levels of energy, different levels of knowledge, and I wanted to have this type of experience to be accessible to as many people as possible. Now, how did I created this concept, and also why we focus on the seniors and older adults, has a lot to do with my grandfather. So my grandfather is same as me. Like, he travels a lot, but he's a professional. He's a amateur professional photographer. So he always take pictures and bring back home the stories and tell us. And but once he hit his, I think when he was 84 years old, he broke his hip. With that, everything started to deteriorate. He became like homebound and couldn't even visit his friends. And I was traveling at the time. I remember once I was walking along the Thames River in London, and he basically saying, "Hey, Jay, just show me what's around you," because I used to spend a lot of time there. So he showed me like the pub actually he used to go to. It was actually only like 500 yards away from where I was at. And he taught me about the ale that I need to order. And it ended up like we were sitting outside the pub in a table. I have the phone, right? I have two glasses, and I say, "Hey, cheers, mate." And I just, all of a sudden, I felt like the world is started to become so small. And then you see he started to become uplifted. So, but anyway, that's kind of like, why I wanted to do this for the seniors.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And so, Sam, let's ask you the same question too. Tell us about your solution and why you got started on this.
Sure. So Own Practice is my company. I'm the co-founder. We are a digital preventative health platform that is an online fitness and mindfulness platform. What that looks like, we have about 100 classes a week on our schedule. So yoga, strength training, Tai Chi, Pilates, mindfulness classes, and more. And the key differentiator is that our classes are required camera on. We know that outcomes happen when we actually just get people to do the thing that they set out to do. And we've been doing this for about 7 years. So that was a very different world 7 years ago. And we work with a range of customers. So we are primarily B2B. We work with the VA, where we serve employees, staff, and veterans. We're really focused on whole communities. With healthcare systems here in the Boston area where I am, we work with Beth Israel Lahey Health. We do a lot of work with nursing teams, with community members. And so that's sort of what I'm always thinking about is how do we connect communities? And I'm excited to talk on this panel just because when we talk about tech accessibility, I think we have to think about not just the cool innovations, but how do we bring humans and connectivity into what we do.
Excellent.
5 seconds on background. My co-founder was actually sort of a decade ago at the head of the top of the yoga mountain. He taught yoga at the Obama White House for 6 years. And I was in digital fitness and tech. I worked at Runkeeper. We had 9% of the population of Sweden using the app. And so we've been doing this now for 7 years and trying to solve population health issues.
Excellent. Excellent. Such a growing need for that. Thank you. And Rebecca Rosenberg from Roboca, welcome. Tell us about your solution and how you got started.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Rebecca Rosenberg. I am the founder of Roboca, and we build assistive technology specifically for people with moderate vision impairments. And we do that because I have a moderate vision impairment myself as a result of albinism. It's a rare genetic condition. And basically, I spent my entire life looking for technologies that were really appropriate for me. I have a vision impairment that is not correctable by any means we currently have available to us as humans. But at the same time, I have a lot of good usable vision. I can read, if you met me kind of on the street, you probably wouldn't know off the bat that I have a vision issue. But what I found was despite the extent of vision that I really did have, all of the technologies I was being offered as a student, as a child, were really based on totally replacing my vision, defaulting to audio or Braille tactile only options. But when I asked to learn Braille when I was in 5th grade, they said, no, you have too much vision. And so there really was a mismatch between the methodologies by which things were being presented to me and how I was being actually taught to intake information. And so Roboca is meant to be a vision enhancement tool instead of a vision replacement tool, which makes it really appropriate for the older adult populations who are wanting to make the most of the vision that they have. Long story short, ended up getting my degree in biomedical engineering and started Roboca out of my dorm room as like a summer project when I was 21. And at the end of the summer, my school was like, this is really cool. You should do this TV interview. And I did a TV interview and a radio interview kind of in like very rural central Pennsylvania. And even yet still, people started reaching out to me to say, when is this going to be available? How can we get it? How can we help you? And at that point, I was like, this is kind of a back of the napkin idea at this point. But people wanted it. And so that's what we did.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Emil, tell us about Steadyware, please.
Hey, everybody. My name is Emil Amari. I'm the co-founder and CMO of Steadyware. We make a glove for hand tremors that's not powered by batteries. We use the energy from the magnets that are in the device and the energy from the tremors to actually stabilize the hand tremor itself. It was inspired by earthquake design. Everybody on our team has tremors in their families. We understand the impacts that they can have on daily life and quality of life as a result of firsthand experience. We started the company in 2015. Our CEO is a structural engineer by trade, and we are about to launch the 3rd iteration of our technology. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm just so excited to have this conversation with you all because there are a lot of problems with the existing offerings, like Rebecca mentioned, before you developed Roboca, that, Braille or whatever else is available is very limited and not specific enough to your needs. So let's talk about some of the existing availability and options. And so, Jason, if you would go ahead, what is existing in this area currently?
Yeah, absolutely. In the travel world, I think the accessible travel has been existing for a long time. But the trips usually are expensive. And even a lot of people, when they actually get to the destination, there's not a lot of accessible features over there. So, from the expense standpoint, from the inconvenience standpoint, those are just some of the existing issues out there that we want to resolve.
Yeah, and how about for you, Sam? Can you answer that same question? What are some of the prevalent problems with the existing options?
Yeah, so for us, we're looking at accessibility in a few different ways. Early on, when we started this company, we were hearing from a range of potential customers who all knew, and I think we all know, fitness and mindfulness works if you do it. But the challenge is getting people to do it. So, and that can be a range of issues. It could be financial access. It could be that you live in a rural area and don't have access to great practitioners. It also can be around diversity. I mean, fitness, if you think about fitness in our current world of social media, fitness influencers tend to look one particular way. And so from the very beginning of our company, we've been focusing on helping students see themselves in their teachers. That looks like diversity across a range. But that is an accessibility issue. If you can't see yourself in your teachers, if you don't see the possibility, you can't really see how it's going to work for you. So we focus there.
Thank you. And Emil, what is existing in terms of the options for tremors right now?
Well, there's intrusive surgeries, medications bolted with side effects. There are other more expensive solutions that are in the form of assistive devices, more regulated solutions. What we decided to do was try to make something as minimally expensive as possible that was not very complicated in terms of a regulatory standpoint, and something that people can understand that would improve the quality of life of the end user, and allow them to eat alone, drink alone, and write their name again. So that's really what we want to do, and we were able to do that with the Say 2, and we're very excited to show you guys the Say 3.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I wanted to ask you, are there any larger companies that have already gotten into this market and are solving this problem? And Emil, if you want to go ahead and answer that.
Yeah,
first,
so
please.
there's quite a few different players in the market. When you look at the pharmaceuticals, all typical names: AstraZeneca, Bayer. When you look at the surgeries, you're looking at Medtronic, you're looking at Abbott, Boston Scientific. When you're looking at the assistive devices, some of the major players include Cala Health, Liftware, and the list goes on.
Very good, thanks. Yeah, I think I've had some of those folks on the show before. And how about for you, Jason? Are there any other bigger players in the market?
Yeah, I know, if some of the traditional travel companies, they're coming up with or strengthening their accessible travel programs. They're trying to define the definition of accessibility, even, and standardize all those equipments and facilities. From the virtual standpoint, companies like Amazon Explorer and the Airbnb Experience, they did for a period of time what we did. But really at a basic level, only during the pandemic, but not at the same level as we actually make it as a science out of it.
I remember that because I did a series of classes on online classes and concerts and travel. And I do remember that Amazon had something like that. So I featured that during one of my classes. It's funny because a lot of what I'm doing when I'm working with older adults one-on-one is helping them with many of the same issues and issues that you guys are solving. So there's a lot of overlap there, and it's fascinating to me. And I want to ask now about the crystal ball into the future. So What would you like to see happen in regards to the solution you're providing if you had every means to do that? Sam, would you go first, please?
Sure. My crystal ball. I mean, our job is focusing as as a founder of a company, it's always focusing on distribution, which is not very glamorous. But for us, we know what we do works because we hear it from our students. So we get thousands of testimonials where people are saying that we're changing their lives. So it's my job, honestly, to talk to anybody who is interested in any capacity and just figure out a way to get this in their hands and serve. And there's also for us, there's just so much opportunity to do so much more. I feel like, we've been doing this now for 7 years, but we're just at the tip of the iceberg. We're already seeing, we're used in clinical workflow. We're being used by companies. We're being used in so many different ways. And so the fun part is how many conversations can I have where we can build something with somebody that just changes people's lives. So that's a shout out. Please reach out to me.
Great. I'm glad I asked. And how about for you, Jason?
It's interesting. Jetta, maybe you can share some of the slides that I sent you. I'll talk about this one. So our company started in 2017, so 7 years ago. Go back to the first slide if you could. Yes. So at that time, it was only live on location virtual travel, right? Because we solved the problem of accessibility for the people that does not have the financial means or health means, or they're just afraid of going somewhere. Then, several years later, Jed, if you could go to the next slide, we introduced this any language virtual travel. So basically, any people speak any language, they can interact with our tour guide, speaks any language with any accent. And we're actually partnering up with a technology provider that they use the same technology for the US Customs to address this. So anybody without language barrier, they can take our tours. Now, Jetta, if you go to the third one, so most recently we introduced this blind and visually impaired tours. So we basically focus on the sense, focus on the sound, focus on all those other elements to give people this immersive travel experience. So this is where we're at. But going forward, our company, when we first started, we were actually focusing on the VR technology at the time. But the technology at that time was simply not accessible. It's too expensive, very complicated to use. And most importantly, the over-the-air, because our tours are all happening on the streets, over-the-air bandwidth, it's just not enough, even as of today. But going forward, we are waiting for the technology to be developed to a certain stage that we can go back to VR again, because our infrastructure is already built up, our content, our techniques is already there.
Yeah, and the 5G should be there too sometime soon, right?
Yeah, even 5G is not. We actually tested out. I'm talking about over the air, at 360 degrees, like a live tour, and that is still not fast enough yet. So yeah, but looking to the crystal ball, I think that's the immediate thing. But purely from the accessibility standpoint, there's so many other opportunities that we can tap into.
And how about for you, Rebecca?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that we're doing now, so Roboca's technology has users in more than 100 countries all over the world, which we're really proud of and really excited about. And what we found was that there are some really specific ways and places and things that people were using the technology to do. And so we sort of took that information and said, well, wouldn't it be great if these places that people are going to use the technology could actually sponsor the full version of the technology for everybody, instead of just those specific people who have the financial means to support that for themselves, that anybody could use it in these places. And so we're really excited to be working with some universities, some museums, some actually conferences to make Roboca's technology available for free to individuals while they're in those spaces. And what's really cool is that we're able to enable people to do that on their own personal devices. So it's not something you have to go to your university and ask for some physical piece of hardware. It's happening all on your own device. And so we've been really excited about that. And I think my crystal ball is that, every organization, every museum, every conference, every transportation center, like an airport, and every adult living community could make this available to people within their space.
Great. And you know what, Gary had a question that was along the same lines of that. So if we could see Gary's question, he asks, I recently heard another speaker say that 60% of residents in the various senior living venues, would that sync up with Roboca? And is that accurate? So 60% of residents in the various senior living venues, may need that type of help. Does that sound accurate to you?
That does. So the interesting thing is that more than 85% of people who have diagnosed vision impairments, so more than 85% of people who are considered to be legally blind, have some amount of good usable vision. And usually they want to be able to use that good usable vision when they have it. And so we see that the vast majority of visually impaired people are able to make use of Roboca. And for some of them, it's for everything. And for some people who maybe have significantly less vision, it's for very specific things. Like I know someone who is almost entirely blind, but uses our technology to access their microwave so that they can see all of the buttons. So like sometimes it's very specific. But yeah, absolutely. Older adults are oftentimes not considered to be specifically visually impaired. They just have regular age-related vision loss. And so you can imagine how much more that kind of market size expands when you consider that about 25 million people in the US alone have a moderate vision impairment, and that does not count older adults who have regular, normal age-related vision loss.
Wow. Before I ask the question to my next panelist, I wanted to ask you, Rebecca, because you mentioned it, what does it cost? What does it cost to the consumer? What does it cost to an organization?
Yeah, great question. So to an individual person right now, it's about $3 a month, which is pretty heavily subsidized. And we're working with organizations across a range of prices, sort of depending on their foot traffic and the size of the space that the technology is covering. It's really kind of a wide gamut, but we are working with a number of organizations, and I encourage anyone who's interested to reach out, and we're happy to talk about that in those specific cases.
Excellent. And so I want to ask the rest of you too, Sam, how much does it cost to subscribe or join OnPractice?
Yeah, so because we have a few different models for direct to consumer, it is $179 for the year, gets you unlimited access to all of our classes, $24.99 a month. Most health insurers will reimburse for a fitness reimbursement. And then we also work with health insurers to create discounts. On the senior living side, we're always looking to expand into organizations and lower that cost and lower the bar to entry. So we typically work with organizations to give full access to their entire community. So staff, people who work at facilities, and the residents, and extending into the community. So family members, we actually, on our platform, we always have a mom and her mother who's in a facility practicing. We have sort of cross-generational.
Intergenerational. That's awesome.
And we're always looking to do that in any community we get into and figure out ways to lower the cost for everybody. So
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And how about you, Emil?
Yeah, our device costs $649 retail. We do have multiple business models. Similar to Sam, we offer a monthly payment plan option too. Starts at like $52 a month. The device is fully reimbursed by Veteran Affairs, and we're working on reimbursement for other channels. And so I'm not sure if you wanted us to also answer the question beforehand, the crystal ball question too.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So in terms of crystal ball, we launched our the current version of our technology in 2021 at the peak of COVID. So we weren't able to get it clinically validated in a lab setting. So we are very excited to do that with the Study 3. We're currently looking for pilot partners. We're looking for new distributors, and we're hoping to launch the technology in October. We're raising money to do that and expand the team.
Excellent. Thank you. And Jason, you're up. What does it cost to become a member of Discover Live?
Yeah, we have different models, but specifically for the senior living community, so we charge $49 per month. They can take up to 5 live tours. And then for the aging in place older adults, $19 per month, they can take up to 2 tours per month. So every
Okay.
other week they can travel to some place.
Great, great. And with just a few minutes left, I would love for people who are watching to be able to know how they can connect with you. So, Jason, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn, Jason Wei, or they can just email me at jayw@discover.live.
Excellent. And how about for you, Emil?
I'd encourage them to link to connect with me on LinkedIn or shoot me an email at emil.mamari@steadyware.com. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Sam?
Another one for LinkedIn. I'm the only Sam Tackeff on the internet, so please reach out that way. But I'd also encourage you to actually connect with me. Shoot me an email. If you send me an email, I will give you free access to Om Practice. I just want you to see what it's like. It's easy to talk about it, but it's better to show it. So please do connect there. And if you're still on Twitter, I'm at Alpha Prep, and I'm still on there. You call it
Okay.
X. I hate it, but I'm there too.
Excellent. And Rebecca, how can people connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Over email, it's Rebecca, REBECCA @Reboka, REBOKEH.com. LinkedIn is also an option. And if you want to check out the Reboka app, there is a free version available on iOS. And so feel free to grab that link that's there as well and check it out for free yourself on your own device.
Wonderful. Well, guys, I just want to thank you so much for your innovative spirit and for solving a lot of problems for people. And for those of you who joined us today in the chat, thank you so much. I just appreciate that greatly. And we will meet you all back here again next week. Thank you.